Hi, welcome to Book and Buja, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Today I am setting up my November reading journal. Let's start with a flip through of October. I really liked my new dashboard setup with the calendar going across and then getting to see as I started and finished books as I went through, and then the list of the books on the side, instead of this more calendar layout where it got a little confusing with having to continue the books on to the next line and everything. So I'll probably continue this one through the end of the year anyway. Then I have my library books. I will fill in the stats as I finish all of my reviews on the books. I did fairly well. There's still 2 books I haven't quite finished yet. I'm almost done. I did end up starting Shifting, and I'm about 83% of the way through right now, so I should finish that one up today. And then I am probably about 70% of the way through Feel Good Productivity, and so I will finish that one up in the next day or 2. So I ended up almost completing my TBR. I ended up doing a house project as well. I went through our pantry and found all the foods that have expired or are expiring soon, and I took care of those. We also freeze-proofed the outside of the house since we did have freezing temperatures the last couple of days. And then almost shifting, so I actually did pass my TBR because I only have to get at least 50% of the way through the book, and I was 80%. So surprisingly, I actually did make it. I did finish my Spookoplathon as well, and then I finished my 13 spooky reads, and that was a lot of fun. I do need to print off a few more of the book covers so I could put those in here. I did fairly well on my Horror Bingo Readathon so far. I think there's a couple more I have finished, but I need to print out the book covers for them. And this is with Wicked Reading. And then for the Seasonal Spooky Challenge with Covers with Cassidy, I am doing pretty good. Again, I need to print off more of the book covers. I pretty much finished the settings, and I just need one unlocking one, which is the new release. I need to find one for that. And then I have Hands and Window that I still need to do, and Cannibals. Otherwise, I've pretty much finished that one, so that's pretty good. And then these ones will move into my November setup. And then we have the Library of Dragons, which I did complete all of these prompts. I did end up having to use Fahrenheit 451 for this one. And there are some side prompts we could do for the Library of Dragons that had some costumes you could get, and I ended up reading all of those. I didn't quite finish Feel Good Productivity yet for Read a Book with a Dust Jacket, but I could use any of the books I had from the library for that instead, so that pretty much did work. So I can have like devil horns and dark dragon safe paint, fake blood, fangs, wings, a wizard's hat, star cape, pixie and fairy dust, mummy wrappings, a little white sheet, so super fun. For Buzzwordathon, we had to have relationships. I did read Something is Killing the Children. For Adventures in Aldea with Gia Book Roast, I did finish Loftus Hall and the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and that was for both of my characters. So now we are into November. For some supplies, I will be using some more of the Journalsay papers that I used in my bullet journal and kind of continuing that dark academia theme a little bit into my reading journal. I do have one of the Archer and Olive washi tapes here that I'm thinking of using. And then from the Black and White Poets Society washi kit, I have quite a few that I'm thinking of using in this setup. And then I also have some of these washi tapes also from Journalsay, and some of the moons as well, because these are stunning and I love these, and so I will use these any chance I can get to get some more of these into my journals because they are beautiful. And again, if you use a code Debbie and the link down in the description box, you can get 8% off your order with Journalsay. I'm going to be using a lot of the same pens that I did in my bullet journal setup. So I have a couple of my Tombos in the N15 and the N25. This is the black and just slightly less black. And then the 616 from the Galaxy collection in kind of that purpley, burgundy purple kind of color, eggplanty color. And then I have my Zebra Sarasa clip in the .05, the gel pen, which I love these pens. I have a couple of Sakura Jelly Rolls that I may or may not use. So this one is the gold one, I believe. Yes, it says gold here. Not sure if you can see that or not, but the gold there. I have a couple of the metallic pens in kind of the burgundy and kind of a purple colored. And since this is kind of an in-between color, not quite sure which one to use. It doesn't really match either. So one of those. And then I also have a purple glitter pen that I may use as well for when I color in the squares from the little dice from my TBRopoly. All right, let's get started. And now for a final flip through. So I did realize when I started putting my books in here that in October I left 2 dot squares for each day. And this time I only left 1. So it makes it a little harder to write what page or audiobook time I was on to keep track for my audio listened and my pages read. But it'll still work. I can make that work. But in the future, I will remember I need 2 dot squares per day just to give me enough space. And again, I have all my Journalsay papers. I have my book clubs here and the Readathons. And it looks like Knife of Dreams is actually the November book. And I read that before New Spring, which I ended up reading in October for the October book. So I am actually ahead of time. I think The Gathering Storm, which I misspelled and put Storm. Okay, The Gathering Storm. I think that's actually the January book, but I already have it plugged in for some readathons. So I'm going to go ahead and read it in November. And then I will just take December and January off, I guess, from the Wheel of Time. And then catch back up with them in February. And I have my readathons over here, the year-long ones, so Buzzwordathon and my 2 characters for Adventures in Aldia. And then I had fun with some of the washi tapes for the little extra decorations on the page. And then I have my TBR-opoly, and I have started Outlive by Peter Attia and Endfall by Shadow Knights by Michael Webb. I've got both of those started. I'm only a couple pages into this one. On my Kindle, it was a PDF copy from a book from the author, and so the font is super tiny, and since it's a PDF, I can't change the font size unless I do it landscape mode, and then you only get like 1/3 of the page per page, so you do a lot more flipping through. So I may end up reading that one on my computer. And then Outlive, I'm on chapter 7, so I'm getting a little chunk of the way through. It's a 17-hour audiobook, and I'm about 4 hours in, so I still have quite a ways to go. And then I'll have my stats down here, so all of my favorites and other core stats, and then genres, format, audience, author, that kind of stuff here. Then over on the next page, I have the Final Book Support Group by Steph Loves, and so I have all the prompts up here, and then I will write down what I will be doing for each of them. I have what book I've chosen for each of the prompts, and then the blank ones are the non-reading prompts, like share your TBR, self-care, pull, and then also the pull pick, which I have not done that yet. I will do that a little bit later into the month, I think. Then over here is Tomes and Treasures, which is The Creepy Geek and Ashley's Bookish Life, and I will leave all of these readathons linked down below for you if you want to check them out. And then I will just put the books, the number of the prompt, and then the books in here that I read for that. And then I had fun with a little collage of the different Journalsay papers that I cut up for over here and using the leftovers over here. That was kind of fun. It's always nice when you find ones that kind of line up. And then over here is also Tomes and Treasures, and this is what the description is and then the actual prompt. So like, security required for traders' caravan, speak to Gerard, and the prompt is read a book with travel. And so that one's number 1. So then when I read that book, I will put that over here with whatever book I read and the author, etc. And I won't necessarily get to all of the prompts, although I did pick out a book for all of the prompts. On this side, I will most likely put the book cover over the top of what the actual prompt was, just to keep track over here as well of what I did. And then that was it. I have a few pages left for December, and as you will have just seen, I am co-hosting the Merry Bookmas, and so I will have a couple of spreads for that one, and then also G's Lightfall Pass in here, and then I will be done with this journal, using up all of the pages and not being quite as cramped for space as I was last year at this point. But stay tuned, because I will be having my 2025 planner lineup coming out shortly, and I am excited to get into my new reading journal. I bought this one specifically for my year-long reading journal, and I prefer just one journal for my reading journal per year, where my bullet journal, I like having 2 or 3 is fine for that, but I like just having one journal for my reading journal. And thank you for joining me for my quick little setup of my reading journal. And these papers here are also from the Art Journal of Halloween box set. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!